I have a message. I have a message for President Macron. Today, Israel is defending itself on 7 fronts against the enemies of civilization.
The conflict in the Middle East is slowly expanding across the region as the world waits for Israel's next move.
Look, something happened just the other day, which to me is a tell, kind of this is what's going to happen. They took out 4 Syrian air defense sites with what they call SEAD, S-E-A-D, suppression of enemy air defense. Why did they do that? They're creating a lane, an air lane that goes right to Iran. I said, Bill, start picking up those tells because you get indicators of what's going to happen.
Iraqi militants striking after Iran's supreme leader called for the Muslim world to unite.
Another player joins this spiralling conflict. Iraqi militants launching a drone strike that killed 2 Israeli soldiers at an army base in northern Israel.
It comes as Iran's supreme leader warned Israel will not survive.
Chants of death to Israel loud across the square.
We've just heard from President Emmanuel Macron of France calling for a halt in weapons sales to Israel.
But this was specifically a broad call for an international arms embargo, that is, international players stopping their arms shipments to Israel.
As Israel fights the forces of barbarism led by Iran, all civilized countries should be standing firmly by Israel's side. Yet President Macron and some other Western leaders are now calling for an arms embargo against Israel. Shame on them. The axis of terror stands together. But countries who supposedly oppose this terror axis call for an arms embargo on Israel. What a disgrace. Well, let me tell you this. Israel will win with or without their support. Rest assured, Israel will fight until the battle is won, for our sake and for the sake of the peace and security of the entire world.
Tonight, as fears grow of a wider war in the Middle East, explosions rocking the capital of Yemen. US forces attacking Iran-backed Houthi rebels across the country. The Pentagon saying the US Navy targeted 15 Houthi military sites in an effort to make international waters safer after the Houthis started targeting ships claiming solidarity with the Palestinians in Gaza. This video showing a massive blast on an oil tanker.
Xi Jinping has been emboldened because he wants to realize what we call his China dream. It's not about which administration is in the United States, but rather what are the thoughts of Xi Jinping.
And the ambassador acknowledged that Americans are divided over these foreign wars, Israel and Ukraine, the billions going abroad. But he says the Taiwanese people are ready and willing to fight if China invades.
Lebanon's health ministry saying more than 2,000 people have now been killed and nearly 10,000 injured, most in just the past 2 weeks.
With mounting geopolitical shifts in the region, there appears to be a new strategic alliance in the making between Pakistan, Iran, China, and Russia. This also appears to be a mirror and a counterbalance of sorts of the already existing Indo-Pacific Quad.
Brian, I think it's the most dangerous time we've had, certainly since the end of the Second World War. I think it could end up being a world war. You have two hot spots, and you'll probably have a third, maybe with Taiwan. But you have Ukraine and Russia, and that's out of control. Millions of people are being killed. I don't think people recognize how many people are being killed. I don't think it's being properly reported. It's a horrible, horrible war. And then you see what's happening even today. You know, where is that going to stop? And, you have to give Israel a lot of credit for being able to protect itself. And right now we have a world in chaos, but we want to see that war taken care of, and we certainly want to see peace in the Middle East as soon as it's possible.
Benjamin Netanyahu, who's now become a leader of consequence in the Middle East, said when he was at the UN General Assembly, he talked about Moses, and he closed his talk when he talked about the Book of Solomon. They look at this fight in biblical terms, and it's a fight to the finish on good versus evil. And they're fighting in multiple directions against multiple enemies.